Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and today is Thursday, December 16th, the year of our Lord 2021. And the Build Back Better plan is back into the news, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Won't you join us? That is correct. It is the Biden Build Back Better bill back into the news. It's been, remember it was last month that it passed the House with much fanfare after 13 Republicans brought it across the finish line because there weren't enough Democrat votes. I think the squad sat out 5 votes, and it was enough to defeat it. Without Republican help, and 13 Republican congressmen did cross the line and voted for it. And then it went to the Senate, where it seemed like it was going to be passed. They keep saying only one senator is standing in the way. Actually, there's 51 senators, 52 senators, 54 senators. Depends how you count it. That's in the way. Everybody wants to point to Joe Manchin and say, see, he's the one. If it weren't for him, but they fail to recognize the other 50 Republicans who aren't voting for it. Krista Sinema, who's also voiced some concern over this bill, and many other Democratic senators who have not been very vocal about it because it didn't look like it was going to pass and they didn't want to take the heat, I think. And so they didn't. But because there's lots in this bill. And let's right before I get the news every morning, and I go through the news about what we're going to talk about today on today's Tax Talk. And right before we get on, I generally will do a search, so I don't want to miss what's the most prominent or the newest news. And so in that search, here's my search today of what right before I went on. So here it is. Biden officially acknowledges Build Back Better will miss deadline, but says he's determined to see the bill on Senate floor as early as possible. So let's see what that means, early as possible. Biden acknowledges Build Back likely won't be passed this year. Now, they said by Christmas. Remember, they were telling us by Halloween, then by Thanksgiving, then by Christmas. Now, by the end of the year. Now it's into the next year. Some saying until March because there's going to be a recess. Then it's going to be very difficult to pass something like this during a election year. Biden says it will take days and weeks for the Build Back Better because they're still working on it. He put out a statement, so we're going to see the statement. Much of this now has been taken over in the last hour by all of this Biden stuff. Biden hints Build Back Better talks could slip into New Year. U.S. Senate parliamentarian rejects Democrats' immigration proposal in Build Back Better bill. Biden's Build Back Better bill suddenly is in serious danger. Democratic leadership struggles to gain support for President Biden's Build Back Better bill. So again, it's not just Joe Manchin. There's many. And I think we listed them. Yesterday we talked about the doubling the size of the IRS and all the opposition to that. The Joe Manchin, I think his biggest thing was the child tax credits that were $1.75 trillion over the next several years that he objected to. He wanted the whole package to be $1.75 trillion, which I think is a lot of money. And when they proposed a $2 trillion plan, he pointed out that it was a bunch of gimmicks. It really wasn't that bill. It was much more than they were saying. in face of opposition. I wanted to read something like how Build Back Better was derailed for now. What's Biden's Build Back Better bill could mean for inflation. I don't see some of these others that were on earlier. For instance, there was Lindsey Graham was out saying it's dead, dead, dead. That it's dead forever. Is it? We don't know if it's going to be dead forever, but generally when there's a problem, it never comes back, right? Because they had the momentum coming back. So let's look at the statement from the president on the bill. I had a productive call with Senator Pelosi and Majority Leader Schumer earlier today. I briefed them on the most recent discussions that my staff and I have had with Senator Manchin about Build Back Better. Again, they're focusing on Senator Manchin like he's the only objection or he's the only obstacle to this bill. But he's not the only obstacle to the bill. In these discussions, Senator Manchin has reiterated his support for Build Back Better funding at the level of the framework plan I announced in September. I believe that we will bridge our differences and advance the Build Back Better plan, even in the face of fierce Republican opposition. Again, it's not only Republican opposition; it's the opposition of his own party, because the price tag is so high. So we're going to review some of the stuff that's in this bill. My team and I are having ongoing discussions with Senator Manchin. That work will continue next week. It takes time to finalize these agreements. Haven't they had a lot of time to finalize these agreements? Haven't they been working on this since he was inaugurated last January? Well, the answer is yes, of course. It takes time to finalize these agreements, prepare the legislation changes, and finish all the parliamentary and procedural steps needed to enable a Senate vote. Oh, it's so complicated. We will advance this work together over the days and weeks ahead. Leader Schumer and I are determined to see the bill successfully on the floor as early as possible. Build Back Better is urgently needed to lower the cost of prescription drugs, health care, child care, and elder care. Notwithstanding the unrelenting Republican obstruction, not a single Republican is willing to move forward on the bill. That's new, isn't it? No, it's not new. I am determined to see this bill enacted into law to give America's families the breathing room they deserve. $2 trillion in debt is not breathing room, in my humble opinion. We also need urgent action on climate change and other priorities in Build Back Better plan. We must get Build Back Better passed, even in the face of Republican opposition. Again, the opposition is his own party. They run everything up there. It's not the Republicans, although they have unified against it. But this is not because they're against Joe Biden. Many of them have crossed on the infrastructure bill, for instance. 16, 20, I think it was 23 Republicans backed the infrastructure bill. I think wrongly. I think it was a mistake, but they did. And so it's not always Republican opposition. But to this is, again, it's not only it's his own party standing in the way. At the same time, we must also press forward on voting rights legislation and make progress on this as quickly as possible. That's another debacle, but that's not tax talk, so we're not going to talk about that. I had a productive conversation today with several senators about how we can get these vital legislation passed. Our democracy is at stake. Is it? There's a story here, but the story I really wanted to talk about has been usurped by some of these. It was here in my list, but because this updated recently, and now Biden has come out and publicly said that it's going to take some time. So let's see if if I can get some of these. I wanted some of the specifics in this bill. See if we can do that, because it's pretty amazing. We just do Build Back Better. I can't even spell. Build Back Better bill, and we'll see the White House. See the White House. No, I don't want to see the White House. and we'll see what they have to say about it, because they have it all listed there. The framework, the Build Back Better framework. Let's go back to. So here's all the things that are in this Build Back Better. Investment in children. Now remember, when the government says investment, it's really spending. It's not investment. You don't invest, by giving people things. That's not an investment. Investment in children, families, caregiving that grow the economy's capacity. How does it do that? Universal preschool for all, because then I guess it frees mothers up to go to work. So not only do we need school 5-year-olds, but we need children in government schools as early as possible. Affordable, high quality child care. So even after school, take care of them after school. Put them in school, preschool, then put them out after school. So we don't need parents any longer. Affordable, high quality care for hundreds of thousands of older Americans and people with disabilities. Expanded child tax credits, clean energy tax credits, resilience investments in incentives for clean energy procurement, $20 billion. Affordable care for millions of hardworking Americans. Affordable Care Act, premium tax credits, bringing down costs. None of this brings down cost. It brings down cost to the individual. But as many have said before me, nothing's more expensive than a free government program, right? It's just the way things work, and we all know that. We all are. We've lived long enough to know how this all works. So, I wanted to. There's that one plan. I wanted to. One more thing here. And this is an article. Frustrated that you can't schedule an IRS callback. Biden signed an order to do that. Remember, I talked about last week. We talked about the IRS having problems that they're calling 10% or 9% of all calls are being answered. And so the answer to that, according to the Biden administration, he did an executive order. He told them, put them on a list, and I order you to do that, and then everything will be solved. So the problem's solved. I love this because the last paragraph of this story. So he talks about all these bills, all these executive orders he's doing, and he's telling people to do it and getting better customer service across all of the government. And I love this last paragraph. So this is what I'm just going to read this last paragraph. Okay. And this last paragraph reads, Biden's order is not the first time an administration has endeavored to streamline government processes. The Clinton administration put Vice President Al Gore in charge of a program to reinvent government. I remember that well. And other administrations have made their own attempts at making government services more accessible with varying amounts of success. No, they all had the same amount of success. None. They had no success. It's worse than ever. 9% of calls are answered by the IRS. Remember, I had the story last week that the IRS was saying they were going to cancel answering any phone calls. So even if they tell you, put them on a list. If I'm not calling anybody, I'll put everybody on a list. And nobody's going to get a call. And that's just the way it works. So anyway, that's our stories for today. Tomorrow, remember, is the Watch Talk. No, tomorrow is the it is the Watch Talk Radio podcast tomorrow at 2:00. So join us on all these venues. 2:00 tomorrow. We have Milan Filipovic, a defense attorney. He was on our streaming when we did the live streaming of the Rittenhouse case. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Rittenhouse case and defense in general, defense attorneys in general. We're going to talk about the Constitution. We're going to talk about how we can help you when you're looking for an attorney. That's what we do. We're also going to talk about some IRS issues and how you can solve your own IRS problems. That's on the show tomorrow. So don't hesitate to join us. I'd love to see you watch it all, but it is a 2-hour show. But you can watch us, pop in and out, and anything we can do to help you, we certainly will. Remember that we encourage you to fight the IRS if you're fighting the IRS and you need help. The first place to start is with my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com, freeirsbook.com. Get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. That's where you start to fight your IRS problem. Deal with your IRS problem today. We're going to ask you to like and subscribe. We need your help to get the message out. Remember, all news begins with tax talk. right? Because every real news story begins and ends with how they going to get the money and how they're going to spend it. And that's all taxes and IRS. So that's what we do here. And so help us get the word out, won't you? So thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow on the Watch Talk Radio podcast at 2 o'clock. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and join us again next week, won't you? Yep.